even after the tears ran out. Life wasn't adversary, I was empty, but you filled me up with a beautiful life. Now that you're my life, share my life, you're my life, what a beautiful life. Now share my life, what a beautiful life. Share my life, share my life, beautiful life. Share my life, share my life, what a beautiful life. Share my life, you share my life, beautiful life. Share my life, share my life, beautiful life. Share my life, beautiful life. Share my life, share my life. Forever my love. Found love, such a beautiful thing. Found love, such a beautiful thing. Forever my love. Found love, such a beautiful thing. We found love, such a beautiful thing. Forever my love. Found love, such a beautiful thing. We found love, such a beautiful thing. Forever my love. Found love, such a beautiful thing. We found love, such a beautiful thing. Forever my love. Found love, such a beautiful thing. We found love, such a beautiful thing. Can't nobody come between me and you, my baby. Can't nobody come between me and you, my baby. Can't nobody come between me and you, my baby. Can't nobody come between me and you, my baby. Found me, I was down, I was searching for a crown. You was looking for a king, but I finally get it now. Yeah, I had to come around. Woman of my dreams, yeah, she been through many things. Yeah, she know that she a queen, she just had to come around. Made it with a king, she ain't worried about a ring. She ain't worried about a thing, she can get through anything. And can't nobody come between us. Cause baby fell in love with a soldier. Even in the bad, they want me to hold her, put her on my shoulder, get it. Yeah, we gon' get it, cause she knows she the realest. Feel it in my stomach, when she mad, I can feel it. Never catch me slipping, I can never walk away. See the heaven shine, I'll never go away. Found love, such a beautiful thing. We found love, such a beautiful thing. Yeah, we found love, such a beautiful thing. We found love, such a beautiful thing. Yeah. Share my love, the beautiful life. Share my love, share my life, beautiful life. Share my life, share my love, beautiful life. Share my life, you share my love, beautiful life. Share my life, share my love, beautiful life. Share my life, share my life, beautiful life. Share my life, share my life. Forever my love. Found love, such a beautiful thing. Found love, such a beautiful thing. Forever my love. Found love, such a beautiful thing. We found love, such a beautiful thing. Forever my love. Found love, such a beautiful thing. We found love, such a beautiful thing. Forever my love. Found love, such a beautiful thing. We found love, such a beautiful thing. Forever my love. Found love, such a beautiful thing. We found love, such a beautiful thing. Can't nobody come between me and you, my baby. Can't nobody and found it out. But God said that He had a better plan. Higher, we're going higher. Ascending until you feel we want fire. Fire, we want that fire. Burning up every sin and desire. Remove everything and know it is not like you. We need revival, we pray for miracle. Higher, we're going higher.
We're going higher, unnoticed. Lord, you're taking me higher, higher. But I'm scared of heights, heights. Lord, you know my desire, desire. And I'm down to fight. Yes, I am. Inside me a fire, fire that you will ignite, ignite. Lord, just lead the way, lead me, and I will hold on tight. Lord, I'm just feeling so distant. How could I sit up here and be a witness? All of my sins I had to go dismiss. All of my friends could no longer get with. My head was so hard, just like the cement. I was in jail, even in prison, living for you. Now that is my vision. Can only get higher now that I've risen. Unnoticed.
Higher, we're going higher. Ascending until you feel we want fire. Fire, we want that fire. Burning up every sin and desire. Remove everything and know it is not like you. We need revival, we pray for miracle. Higher, we're going higher. We're going higher. We're going higher.
Told the Abba, I appreciate you. Shalom to the Mishpachah, something you can relate to, something you can praise to, even if they hate you. Remember where you come from, remember what He gave you, remember what He told you. If you forsake His ways, hardships will soon follow. You struggle in those days, pay attention. Our own actions led to this position. Bottom of the system, frustrations to the ceiling. Many caught up in their feelings. We must examine self and rightly divide the truth, if nothing else. How you living, your decision, your complaints, your provisions. Abba seeks a humble heart. You don't seem to be too willing, yet you got your hand out feeling like Abba owes you something. Holding on to genealogies, but surely gets you nothing. While you frontin', we must fight temptation. David Ruffin, wash clean by living water because He's coming. Assumption of the foolish, better let go. Caught up by your flesh, bro. Can't serve two masters, Abba says so. And let go of the bulls of our lips. Hallelujah, Abba Yahuah, covered in the blood of Yahushua.
We give you the glory, I'm here to worship and praise, call it praise and worship. Remember back in them days when we was at them churches. This
There's not a day that goes by where I don't praise with purpose. Now I will carry the light and shine on every surface. I feel the ending is coming, waking up every corner, reading the blessings are given and keeping all the Torah. I'm your biggest fan, your number one supporter. Give me a beautiful gift so sweet like flowing water.
You are now listening to More Than Music.
Reporting live from the middle of the field. Sword in my hand, on my own with a shield. I was in a dark, dark place, I know the feel. It don't matter where I was, Lord, you always keep it real. The way they try to change me like kill or be killed. Told the devil he a lie, we ain't dying, we gon' live. And when I'm going deaf, Lord, open up my ears. Oh, Lord, open up my ears. Lord, save me from myself. I'm finna go to war, need you more now than anything else. I can't go nowhere else. I need to know you're here with me. Yeah, yeah. Open up the heavens, let it rain on me. Straight with the Holy Spirit, keep that thing on me. Oh Lord, your word remains when the world change. He was following my lead, I can't blame homie. Holy Spirit fall upon us like the rain do. I put the chains on, then I broke the chains loose. I've been on the court, feel like blessed, so people try to curse me, they don't understand I'm blessed though. Lord knows I'm thankful they ain't turned me to no John Doe. We ain't ducking 12, no man out of 5-0. I thought life was good, but I was living with my eyes closed. Now we got the light, we giving sight to the blind folk. Now I know how to walk by faith with my eyes closed, and I know what it feel like to have your heartbroken. I saw the mountain move to fate, I spoke it. All these curses in my blood, I broke it. I don't need your bread, cause the Lord is my token. I've been awoken, steady with my feet on the ground. Ay, you there with nobody else around. I hear your voice when there ain't no other sound. Straight from his chest, they shine, hold it down. But it was H-time, they really try to cut me so. Come from the city where they really do not know sleep. But I'm just trying to plant the seed, I'm just trying to speak the truth. I ain't join the army, but you know I'm stepping like a truth. Lord, save me from myself. I'm finna go to war, need you more now than anything else. I can't go nowhere else. I need to know you're here with me. Yeah, yeah. Open up the heavens, let it rain on me. Drive with the Holy Spirit, keep that thing on me. Oh Lord, your word remains when the world change. He was following my lead, I can't blame homie. The clock's ticking, I pick up my pen, listen, no gripping the Glock, gripping, no flipping the rock, wishing I'm giving the rock witness. He's here for your forgiveness, the truth to come set you free like a ref and you in submission. Hey, trust me, homie, I was out and I was breaking bad. Had to give up things I had for things I never have. I hit my knees and I surrendered, I forgave my dad. I forgave the past, became a slave at last, slave at last. To the master of masters who mastered his craft, who took this mockery, laugh, slash and scratch on his back. You don't believe me, you believe me when the sky cracks. You don't believe me, you believe me when the sky cracks. I pray for Satanists, atheists, and all the above. I pray you find him, you repent, and that you feel his love. That you hold on, that you stay strong. That kingdom come, that will be done till the day's won. Open up the heavens, let it rain on me. Keep that thing on me. No world change. He was following my lead. I can't blame homie.
Welcome to Extended Thoughts, Short Bites. Now guys, who's heard of the Marburg virus? And secondly, could the Marburg virus be the next pandemic virus? Now, according to World News, over 150 contacts of the Marburg virus case, Ebola's deadly cousin, identified by the WHO. Now the symptoms of the Marburg virus are headaches, bleeding from eyes, nose and mouth, muscle pain, sore throat, impaired liver and kidney, diarrhea, and vomiting. So not a very nice virus to catch.
The West African nation of Guinea has recorded the first confirmed case of Marburg disease caused by a lethal virus related to Ebola. The Marburg disease virus, like COVID, jumped from animals to humans and has an
Pause. Now, mind you, Yasharal, they not too long ago, something says that there was this new disease that just came out called monkeypox. Now, families, I used to hear about the chicken pox, but monkeypox, and they saying that it's mostly on the black community. And now we got this. Makes you think, huh? Families question everything. Then you can apply 1 Peter chapter 3, 15 through 16. Then after that, families, you can go to the book of Paul in 1 Colossians chapter 4, verses 5, 6 through 8. You know what I'm saying? You can apply these certain things if you question everything. This is what called being real is all about. You recognizing every aspect of life, my brothers and sisters. Let's continue.
8% fatality rate. A man who died on August 2nd in the Gyeonggi prefecture tested positive for the Marburg virus according to the World Health Organization. The Guinean government confirmed the Marburg case in a statement. Recently, Guinea saw a resurgence of Ebola, the disease that killed more than 11,000 people in a 2016 outbreak. This comes amid the COVID-19 pandemic. The patient's corpse was tested for Ebola and returned positive for Marburg disease, which also spreads via bodily fluids or contaminated surfaces. 3 family members of the deceased and a healthcare worker have been identified as high-risk close contacts and are being monitored. The source of the infection is being traced. The disease was detected in a forested area close to the borders of Sierra Leone and Liberia. Previous outbreaks and sporadic cases have been reported in South Africa, Angola, Kenya, Uganda, and the Democratic Republic of the Congo. But this is the first time the virus has been detected in West Africa. The man's symptoms dated back to 25th July. The disease begins suddenly with high fever, headache, and discomfort. There are no approved vaccines or antiviral treatments for Marburg disease. Rehydration and treatment of the specific symptoms has shown to improve survival rates. Local health teams, along with the World Health Organization regional experts, have joined disease surveillance and awareness efforts. Cross-border teams have also been mobilized in order to contain the spread of the virus. Guinea has reported West Africa's first confirmed death from the Marburg virus. Marburg is in the same virus family as Ebola and causes hemorrhagic fever. Outbreaks in the past have mostly occurred in East Africa.
Okay, so let's find out a little bit more about the Marburg virus. So, it's a causative agent of Marburg virus disease, MVD, a disease with a case fatality ratio of 88%. So if you catch this thing, there's a good possibility that it's going to be fatal, but can be lower with good patient care. Marburg virus disease was initially detected in 1960s.
Now, families, they sit there and says that this study was done in Syria in 1967. And when you go down, families, it says that the outbreak was associated with laboratory work using African green monkeys. and they was imported from Uganda. Interesting. Let's continue.
7. After simultaneous outbreaks in Marburg and Frankfurt in Germany and in Belgrade, Serbia. Marburg and Ebola viruses are both members of the Filoviridae family, filiovirus. Both caused by different viruses, the two diseases are clinically similar. Both diseases are rare and have the capacity to cause outbreaks with high fatality rates. Now let's read on. Two large outbreaks that occurred simultaneously in Marburg and Frankfurt in Germany and in Belgrade, Serbia in 1967, led to the initial recognition of the disease. Now the outbreak was associated with laboratory work using African green monkeys imported from Uganda. This is from the World Health Organization website. Subsequently, outbreaks and sporadic cases have been reported in Angola, Democratic Republic of Congo, Kenya, South Africa. In a person with recent travel history to Zimbabwe and Uganda in 2008, two independent cases were reported in travelers who had visited a cave inhabited by roasters, bat colonies in Uganda. Now, the reason I'm just bringing this out, first found in 1967 and whatnot, but with the monkey virus or the monkeypox, is this the next step in that transition? Are we going to see a reintroduction of the Marburg virus? Let me know what you think in the comment section below. And as always, people, extended thoughts.
Pretty Kitty, Arkansas was a background. Two sisters, single mama, papa not around. Being poor, humble living never got you down. Three girls, mama, third child, I can see the happiness in your face about the news. And first day when you heard about the move down to California. And it felt like a dream, surreal moment when you had to pack your things. Fast forward, LA, new landscape. Hard to adjust to this fast-paced high school. Yeah, where you first found trouble messing with this old nigga used to hustle. Name was Spencer. One day you chilling at his house, called over his nephew to come check you out. Wrong move. It was an instant connection, butterflies in your stomach when you first met him. I can see your mama. Start a journey with each other. We got one life to live. Don't have all the answers. We gon' work it out. There's some bumps along the way, but it is what it is. We take them as they come. This is black love. Hold your hand down this road. I promise you, I'ma love you till we gray and old. Please believe me. Please forgive me for the heartache and pain I put you through, but I love you all the same. Black love. Young Johnny LA, what you stomping ground, rough childhood, baby businessman and gang you found. Showed up at your uncle's house, crooked smile. Who's this pretty thing sitting on the couch, caring through it? Oh, we had to have it, that's a fact. Sorry, uncle, you too old to handle that. Funny, I can see it. Snatch her up, fast forward, got her pregnant. Black love, y'all was young and so reckless, yet please believe it. Got married, had your first baby, Shay Shay. Hustle hard, better working low pay, honest man. Number y'all working hard, tough life, frustration that you carried at your home at night. Karen felt it. I know you loved it, but she still got punched on. Your fault made up, inseparable, love strong. Dysfunction at home, yet you still got along. I guess the love that you showed it outweighed the wrong. I know you loved her pop. Start a journey with each other. We got one life to live. Don't have all the answers. We gon' work it out. There's some bumps along the way, but it is what it is. We take them as they come. This is black love. Hold your hand down this road. I promise you, I'ma love you till we gray and old. Please believe me. Please forgive me for the heartache and pain I put you through, but I love you all the same. Black love. Three children now, shade, medium monkey. Struggle to keep it together, but never let them go hungry. They Seen you fight, but they also seen you kiss. Reminiscing good times, they were bliss. Yes, black love. Kitty sitting in your lap taking pictures. 1 minute you're happy, next minute you're split. 11 grandchildren, and your future just pulled through the hard times. Thank the Most High persevering this whole time. In '05, devastated with bad news. Cancer hit your prostate, got it removed. You pulled through uphill battle ahead now. Black love, keep you fighting to this last round. You love your family, but Karen's voice was a sweet sound. Till your ears, 45 years she's been down. Staring at you in the dark while you're sleeping. It's hard to know that you're really leaving. Love you, Pop. Start a journey with each other. We got one life to live. Don't have all the answers. We gon' work it out. There's some bumps along the way, but it is what it is. Take them as they come. This is black love. Hold your hand down this road. I promise you, I'ma love you till we gray and old. Please believe me. Please forgive me for the heartache and pain I put you through, but I love you all the same. Black love. Wait it out, don't be so down. He's got your world. It's been a while since you had someone to talk to, so you shut them out. You say nobody cares, nobody sees, but he knows your heart. He wants to set you free, yeah, completely. And I just want you to know that God loves you so. No matter what, no matter what. And I just want you to know that God loves you so. No matter what, yes, He won't fade away. No matter what. Please don't fade away. Please don't fade away. 'Cause He won't fade away. Yeah. Please don't fade away. He won't fade away. Please don't fade away. 'Cause He won't fade away. Don't be scared. I know it's hard. This world is going crazy. But like you're on your own. No place to go home. But He's got you hidden safely. You just want affection and you just want it all. You just want somebody to listen to you when you go. It's not your fault. I know it's hard. Feels like nobody cares. I know you're scared, and I just want you to know. Please don't fade away, 'cause he won't fade away. And I just want you to know that your love is don't fade away, no matter what. 'Cause he won't fade away, no matter what. Please don't fade away.
Active by night? Keep going crazy. I see you want me, but I do not want you back. I know what you bring, but what you bring won't last. Got me running so fast. 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 Can't believe none of your lies today. Took some time to realize my ways. It's the weekend, pull up. She's just a friend, so show up. So you give in, so what? You bring me to my lowest. Lord knows I lose focus. Hope nobody notices. You make me feel hopeless. You come in many shapes and sizes. So easy to find it. See you waiting there for me. You're waiting at my front door. Take it in, I want more. Lord knows who'll set me free. Acting by night? You going crazy? I see you want me, but I do not want you back. I know what you bring, but what you bring won't last. Got me running so fast. 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 Thank you, Jesus. Life is getting tough, trust, I really know the struggle. I just wanna make it out, it's coming like an avalanche. Went from nothing out of something, I got a passion for rapping, trying to inspire a nation. Niggas see you with a blessing, yes, I'm righteous and I'm ratchet. So I'm doing this for likes, but I'm doing this for life. Listen, man, just step aside and put the work in, cause it's time to level up. You be protected and directed, don't you ever lose your focus. This ain't easy, but it's worth it. Be the 1% and claim it. Consistency. But why is it hard to be consistent with the truth? The justice system broken. People really want the message. Kids are getting shot. Let me put my 2 cents. It don't really make sense. I'm not a rapper, but I adapter. I'm just here to do me. When I leave a legacy. Hate on me, look at me. I'm still good.
I don't recall you being God, you didn't make me. So excuse me when I say this, but you can get out of my face. I'm too blessed. Survival of the fittest, not revival of the realest. Paranoia for your mind, it's a blessing. I don't play. I ain't stressing about this world, cause all I need is God's word. And I know this sounds so common, but truthfully ain't nobody smiling. A paradigm shift, you better check the ones you rolling with. I woke up like, man, God's I got it. I don't take his life for granted. No, God deserves the credit. Elevated, no fakes, unashamed. What to do? I don't mind if you hate. No compare me to no other. I don't mean to hurt your feelings. I ain't trying to be a saint. I ain't trying to be a pastor. I'ma tell it like it is. A rebel following with God's way. It ain't faith if you don't take the risk sitting in the church pews, thinking about life. Wanna take a big step, but it's really going backwards. Trying to make a change, but it's harder than I thought. People going through some battles. You're trying to have some peace, instead of picking up your paces. But it's ringing the night yet again. Too many times the clock is ticking. Hope it's not too late. I'm here to shift the culture, waiting, swooping like a vulture. I'm trying to live right, God first, up and at it. Ain't no sleeping, this is different. I remember when I started, I was just a young boy. I remember when I rapped at the age of 20. When I remember very clearly, cause I never was that good, but I kept on working hard, believing, never giving up. Now I'm on the summer grade. I don't have a time to waste any love for all the blessings. This is bigger than you think. Swinging for the fences, I ain't even on your team. See, if you wanted to the haters, you been hated. I've been pregnant, run this time to keep it moving. Just the streets, I'm in the kitchen, I said cooking. I gotta get it.
Is transliterated as hover or hover. The or definition is another form for ruin or mischief. And interestingly, an individual who comes to mind for many people at this point would be Jay-Z. You see, Jay-Z refers to himself sometimes as hover. And his music, along with others, have caused so much ruin in our culture. Not only that, but a church established in the 1800s called Jehovah's Witnesses, which sprouted from Freemasonry, also revere and magnify this name. But what do you think? Is this an innocent mistake? Linguistic duality? Or foul play, yet many are unawares? Let me know what you think in the comment section below. And as always, people, extended thoughts.
Still ain't able to put all the pain on one track. Album after album, whole album can't even contain what I really need to say. All praise to the Most High. All the souls are going hard. Everybody who's still strapping, staying 10 toes down. Through the storm and the rain. All the troubles and trials, they gave us the purpose and made us better. 144 karat gold music. Know this go already. Look, I ain't in the now, I just fear you won't understand when I explain it. Seeking peace where it's most dangerous. Feel like showing love got me hurt the most. When the hate come from your closest, that would make it worse. Crying on the inside, trying my best to stay glued together. If you my family, not just win, we gon' lose together. How man, how we'll survive, we gotta move together. We're gonna die, we gotta strive, it's either now or never. Some on my mind, I write these rhymes, how I finish. Tell them, need a sign they on my side is they with the devil. Father, please show me. Father, please guide me when I can't see. Dark spirits wanna tame me. Blood suckers wanna drain me. How did we get to this point? I gotta blame me. Hard times will make you learn, won't it? Gave him the shirt on my back and then he turned on me. Being a servant is an honor. I be working for my people. Told him something very personal. He had me on speaker, broke the code. Try not to crash, doing a dash on the open road. It's out my hand, no steering wheel. I'm talking no control. Steps ordered by the Holy One of Israel. Fatigue down on me soldier mode. Overload, brace yourself for the coming woes. So much blood it reaches up to the horse's nose. Have mercy.
Give it my all, I don't cheat. Some on the go when they need you. Most people just here for a season. Under them smiles be demons. Stay to myself for that reason. If it ain't love, I don't need you. I'm cool with your side, but got life in my bottle. That living water, you know what I mean. What life mean to me, more than some G's. The circle got smaller. I found my peace. Trust in my faith. Back on my feet. My Abba, my ox. That is my team. Skirt, skirt, we leaving. Nothing is negative, wanna hear. He gave me the script and I'm living them. Spirit of fear don't dwell in him. It good for your health when you study them scripts. Study yourself to see where you trip. Abba gon' help when you sincere. If you are his what you will hear. Everyday job, this my career. Working in this vineyard for the rest of my years. Wake up every day, that's a good pay. Tell the devil get away, don't tempt me. This path I'm on, gotta keep me straight. Where I'm tryna go, I can't be late. Tell the devil I'm busy. Tell the devil I'm busy. If it ain't on right, just don't wanna vibe. Devil on block, don't hit my line. Tell the devil I'm busy. Tell the devil I'm busy. Hey, this path I'm on, gotta keep me straight. Where I'm tryna go, I can't be late. Tell the devil I'm busy. Tell the devil I'm busy. If it ain't on right, just don't wanna vibe. Devil on block, don't hit my line. Tell the devil I'm busy. Tell the devil I'm busy. Give it my all, I don't cheat. Some on the go when they need you. Most people just here for a season. Under them smiles be demons. Stay to myself for that reason. If it ain't love, I don't need you. I'm cool with your side, but got life in my bottle. That living water, you know what I mean. What life mean to me, more than some G's. The circle got smaller. I found my peace. Trust in my faith. Back on my feet. My Abba, my ox. That is my team. Skirt, skirt, we leaving. Nothing is negative, wanna hear. He gave me the script and I'm living them. Spirit of fear don't dwell in here. It good for your health when you study them scripts. Study yourself to see where you trip. Abba gon' help when you sincere. If you are his voice you will hear. Everyday job, this my career. Working in this vineyard for the rest of my years. Wake up every day, that's a good pay. Tell the devil get away, don't tempt me. This path I'm on, gotta keep me straight. Where I'm tryna go, I can't be late. Tell the devil I'm busy. Tell the devil I'm busy. If it ain't on right, just don't wanna vibe. Devil on block, don't hit my line. Tell the devil I'm busy. Tell the devil I'm busy. Hey, this path I'm on, gotta keep me straight. Where I'm tryna go, I can't be late. Tell the devil I'm busy. Tell the devil I'm busy. If it ain't on right, just don't wanna vibe. Devil on block, don't hit my line. Tell the devil I'm busy. Tell the devil I'm busy.
All of it, the whole spirit of it, everything on the whole earth. So Yah seems to do these things in 3 stages, okay? So here's the other references. Revelation 18:21 says, then a mighty angel took up a stone like a great millstone and cast it into the sea, saying, with such violence that that great city Babylon be cast and shall be found no more. There is a fire before you enter the temple of Yah, whether it was the tabernacle in the wilderness or whether it was the actual temple in heaven. There is a lake of fire. There's fire and water. Remember, family, The heavens above are called the Shemayim. Shem means oil, Mayim means water, oil and water. Shemayim, oil and water. So what happens when you put oil in water and you start it on fire? It burns. So that's the sea of water mingled with fire in the Shemayim. Because you must be able to bear this fire, to bear the presence of Yah and pass into heaven. Because even Yahusha, when you see him, he is burnished brass. He is like a burning metal and precious jewel. That's what his skin is like. And this is also why he is your shield. All right? Before everyone goes up with a trump and a sound, Israel will be in the land. And as I said, Yah said that he would purge out the rebels in the wilderness. So he says, I will gather the nations against Jerusalem to battle, and the city shall be taken, and houses spoiled, and the women defiled, and half of the city shall go into captivity, and the residue of the people shall not be cut off from the city. And then shall Yahuah go forth and fight against those nations, as when he fought in the day of battle. And his feet shall that day stand upon the Mount of Olives. So this is the precursor to the big battle. And what is Yahudah? What is Israel going to be doing? Judah would have to be doing battle. Israel will be doing battle. Now Zechariah says that men will dwell in the land. They will dwell in it, and there will be no more destruction, but Jerusalem shall be safely inhabited. And this shall be the plague wherewith Yahuah will smite all the people that have fought against Jerusalem. Their flesh shall consume away, though they stand upon their feet, and their eyes shall consume in their holes, and their tongue shall consume in their mouth. But in that day a great tumult of Yahuah shall be among them, and every one shall take the hand of his neighbor, and his hand shall raise up against the hand of his neighbor. And Judah also shall fight against Jerusalem. The army of the heathen shall be gathered round about with gold and silver and a great abundance of apparel. So there is going to be a fight for Israel. I believe there's going to be one possibly on the other side, the land of Africa. So I believe there's going to be a battle in Babylon, possibly, and there will certainly be a battle in the land itself. But 2nd Ezra 13:48 or 4th Ezra 13:48, whichever you're reading, says, But those that are left behind of your people are they that are found within my borders. Now when he destroys the multitude of the nations that are gathered together, he shall defend his people that remain, and then shall he show them great wonders. So the people who are alive and remain will enter into the kingdom. How do we know this? Well, Ezra says, 4th Ezra or 2nd Ezra 13:6 says, For as I conceive in my understanding, woe to them that shall be left in those days, and much more woe to them that are not left behind. Yes, it is easier for him that is in danger to come into these things than to pass away as a cloud out of the world and not see the things that happen in the last days. He that shall endure the peril in that time and has kept himself, they that be fallen into danger are such as have works and belief toward Yahuah. Know that therefore they which he left behind were more blessed than they that be dead. So to pass away as a cloud means to die, not to be caught up in the clouds, all right? Don't get it twisted. Because what? This is prophecy, and prophecy is for hope and edification. So this is how you know if you're passing through the fire, you are having good works and good testimony and belief. So one of the things that happens here after Revelation 8 is Revelation 9. Let us be glad and rejoice and give glory to him, for the marriage of the Lamb is come, and his wife hath made herself ready. And to her was granted that she should be arrayed with pure fine linen and shining, for the fine linen is the righteousness of the saints. The fine linen is the righteousness of the saints, right? Clothed in righteousness. Then he said unto me, Right, blessed are they which are called unto the Lamb's supper. All right, so this is the Lamb's supper. All right, so we already talked about this, and I mentioned the two witnesses earlier because the two witnesses symbolize Israel, okay? And they could possibly be, Enoch and Elijah, right? Because they were both taken up and did not see death, right? So they got to see death. And it might be that both are happening at the same time, right? Could be that also. The spirit of Elijah returns actually in the flesh, all right, with Elijah and Enoch as Israel is doing all of this teaching of the word in the Great Tribulation with the supernatural protection around them. All right, so the two witnesses. Now we know Thessalonians says, They which are alive and remain shall be caught up together with them in the clouds to meet Yahuah in the air, and so we shall ever be with Yahuah. Also the two witnesses come to life after they've been laying down dead for 3 days. Life enters into them, and they shall stand up on their feet, and great fear shall come upon them which saw them. And they shall hear a great voice from heaven saying unto them, Come up hither. And they shall ascend up to heaven in a cloud, and their enemies shall see them. So you see, it's a similar thing, all right? So why do I think that the 144,000 seem to preach the good news? Revelation 14 says, And I looked, and lo, a lamb stood on Mount Zion, and with him 144,000, having the Father's name written in their foreheads. And I heard a voice from heaven as the voice of many waters, and as the voice of a great thunder. And I heard the voice of harpers, harping with their harps. And they sung as it were a new song before the throne and before the 4 beasts and elders, which no man could learn that song but the 144,000 which were redeemed from the earth. And these are who, we already went over this, they're not defiled with women, they're the first fruits, in their mouth is found no guile, and they are without fault before the throne of Yahuah. So they have not mixed again with jinn. And I saw another angel, and I actually did the translation of this in my video on the 144,000, and it's actually angels, plural, fly in the midst of heaven, having an everlasting good news. So it's Elohim's, plural. So aren't they transformed now? Doesn't it say, in heaven you shall be what? Like the angels? Having the everlasting good news to preach unto them that dwell in the earth, to every nation, kindred, and tongue, saying with a loud voice, Fear Yah, and give glory to him, for the hour of his judgment is come, and worship him that made heaven and earth, and the sea, and the fountains of the waters. All right? And so once again, we have this reminder of the Babylon is fallen. And when the Babylon falls, so this is verse 14 again, the people who are marked by the beast also die, and that smoke rises up forever. All right, so Revelation 11 says, There was given to me a reed like unto a rod, and the angel stood by, saying, Rise and met. In other words, measure the temple of Yahuah and the altar, and them that worship therein, but the court which is without the temple cast out, and measure it not, for it is given to the Gentiles. And the holy city shall they tread under foot 42 months. What I wanted to show here was that this, to me, going back to the whole principle of Goshen, seems to be a time of being set apart and hidden, and possibly at the Lamb's Supper in another place, because outside the temple is being trampled after that seal. And when those 7 bowls of wrath and all that start going. Why do I think that that's kind of what's happening? Well, it says, and I saw another sign in heaven, and a great and marvelous one, 7 angels having set the 7 last plagues, for by them is fulfilled the wrath of Yahuah, in other words, the wrath of Yahuah. So that Yahuah means God, right? And I saw, as it were, a glass sea mingled with fire, and them that had gotten victory of the beast and of his image and of his mark and of the number of his name stand at the glassy sea, having harps of Yahuah. And they sung the song of Moses, the servant of Yahuah, and the song of the Lamb, saying, Great and marvelous are thy works, Yahuah Almighty. Just and true are their ways, your ways. So we had a song from the 144,000, and now these are the redeemed of the earth. And so that's why I'm saying, how did these people get redeemed? So some of these, I'm guessing, are Israelites who were redeemed who had been in Goshen. And I'm wondering if some of them are Gentiles or the remnant that stayed out in the world, okay? And then it goes on, and one of the 4 beasts gave unto 7 angels 7 golden vials full of wrath of Yahuah, which liveth forevermore. And the temple was full of the smoke of the glory of Yahuah and his power, and no man, this is what I mean by somebody's waiting, and no man was able to enter the temple till the 7 plagues of the 7 angels were fulfilled. So these people are on standby before entering into the heavenly temple, because this wrath has to happen. So it seems like the wrath is being unloaded on the earth, but also someone is preaching the good news, right? Because there has to be hope in that time, right? Daniel 2. So these are markers of the great destruction of the city, the nation of Babylon, and possibly then the whole empire. I watched while a stone was cut out without hands, which struck the image on its feet of iron and clay and broke them in pieces. Okay, so this is the end of Babylon. And it says, and then the clay, bronze, and silver and gold were crushed together and became like chaff from the summer threshing floor. The wind carried them away so that no trace of them was found, and the stone that struck the image became a great mountain and filled the whole earth. So we can see possibly here that stage 3, when the mountain fills the earth, that's the mountain of Yah filling the earth. Okay? So, but I think we're still further back here at stage 1, the destruction of New York, or the destruction of Canada and America, Babylon. Okay? And then I turned back to see the voice that spoke with me. And when I was turned, I saw 7 golden candlesticks. The 7 candlesticks, one like unto the Son of Man, clothed with a garment down to the feet, and girded about the paps with a golden girdle. His head and ears were as white as wool, and as snow. And his eyes were as a flame of fire, and his feet like unto the sound of many waters. And he had in his right hand 7 stars, and out of his mouth went a sharp 2-edged sword, and his face shone as the sun shineth in his strength. And there shall come forth a rod out of the root of Jesse, and a blossom shall come up from his root, and the spirit of Yahuah will rest upon him, and the spirit of wisdom and understanding, and the spirit of counsel, strength, the spirit of knowledge, and godliness shall fill him. You guys, I'm doing the spell check replacement for those names. And the spirit of the fear of Yahuah, and he shall not judge according to appearance, nor reprove according to report, but he shall judge the cause of the lowly, and reprove the lowly of the earth. And he shall smite the earth with the word of his mouth, and with the breath of his lips shall he destroy the ungodly one. And he shall have his loins girt about with righteousness, and his sides clothed with truth. All right, so then we go into the battle. Blessed are they which are called unto the Lamb's supper. And I saw heaven open, and behold, a white horse, and he that sat upon him was called Faithful and True, and he judgeth and fighteth righteously, and his eyes were as a flame of fire, and on his head were many crowns, and he had a name written that no man knew but himself, and he was clothed with a garment dipped in blood, and his name was called the Word of Yah. And all the hosts in heaven followed him, and out of his mouth, down to verse 15, went out a sharp sword, that with it he would smite the heathen. For he shall rule them with a rod of iron. For it is he that treadeth the winepress of the fierceness of wrath and of Almighty Yahuah. And he hath upon his garment and upon his thigh, that's the place of covenant, is the thigh, the name written, Malachim of Malachims, Yahuah of Yahuahs. So, King of Kings, God of Gods, okay? Right, now remember we left off in Zechariah 14 where it says, Then shall Yahuah go forth and fight against those nations as he fought in the day of battle, and his feet shall stand that day on the Mount of Olives, which is before Jerusalem, on the east side, and the Mount of Olives shall cleave in the midst thereof, towards the east and towards the west. There shall be a very great valley, and half of ye mountain shall remove toward the north, and half of ye mountain towards the south. And ye shall flee into the valley of the mountains, for the valley of the mountains shall reach to Azal. Yea, ye shall flee like as ye fled from the earthquake in the days of Uzziah king of Yahudah. And Yahuah, my Yahuah, shall come, and all the saints with thee, and in that day shall there be no clear light, but dark. So here's the darkness again. These are repeating things. Judgment, shift, change, dissolve to the next scene. Stop, look, listen, take a breath, Selah. And I saw an angel stand in the sun, who cried with a loud voice, saying to all the fowls that did fly in the midst of heaven, Come and gather yourselves together unto the supper of the great Yahuah, that ye may eat the flesh of kings and captains and mighty men, and the flesh of horses and them that sit on them, and the flesh of all free men and bondmen, and of small and great. And I saw the beast and the kings of the earth, and their hosts gathered together to make battle against him that sat on the horse, and against his army. But ye beast was taken, and with him that false prophet that wrought miracles before him, whereby he deceived them that received the beast's mark, and them that worshipped his image. Both were alive and cast into the lake of fire, burning with brimstone. And the remnant were slain with the sword of him that sitteth upon the horse, which cometh out of his mouth. And all the fowls were filled full with their flesh. All right, so the remnant of the beast's marked ones were slain with him. You see this English language is witchcraft. It's just so confusing sometimes, but that's what it means. That's what it says. And so Satan chained, Israel reigns. And I saw an angel come down from heaven, having the key to the bottomless pit and a great chain in his hand. And he took the dragon, that old serpent, which is the devil, Satan, and he bound him 1,000 years and cast him into the bottomless pit. And he shut him up and sealed the door upon him, that he should deceive the people no more until the 1,000 years were fulfilled. So this is what we're talking about, the 1,000-year reign, till the 1,000 years were fulfilled. For after that he must be loosed for a little season. And I saw the seats they sat upon, and judgment was given unto them. And I saw, so this is Israel, and this is the apostles and the forefathers. And I saw the souls of them that were beheaded for the witness of Yahusha, and for the word of Yahuah, which did not worship the beast, neither his image, nor had taken his mark upon their foreheads or on their hands. and lived and reigned with Yahushua 1,000 years. But the rest of the dead man shall not live again until the 1,000 years be finished. This is the first resurrection. Blessed and holy is he that hath part in the first resurrection. For on such the second death hath no power, but they shall be priests of Yahuah and of Yahushua, and shall reign with him 1,000 years. All right, so everyone's question here is, of course, whether the Gentiles will also be reigning. And I still go back and forth on this, so I'm just going to present the evidence to you, because there are books that talk about the work of the fathers, okay, and that's Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, but that includes Enoch and Noah, the good works of the good fathers. So, that may include Ham and Japheth's offspring. And of course, the terrible thing about this is that Yah will purge those out in the wilderness whom he does not choose. And those are the Israelites who reject him. And so, in a sense, he is taking from the other nations those who accept him in their place. Okay? So, but let's take a look at the evidence on the 1,000-year reign. The kingdom of heaven and the 1,000-year reign. All right, so this is what happens once the reign begins. All right, so what he says he's going to do in Isaiah 66. And I'm going to gather all nations and tongues, and they shall come and see my glory, and I will leave a sign upon them, and I will send forth them that have escaped of them to the nations, Tarshish and Put and Love and Meshach and Tubal and Greece, and to the isles afar off, those who have not heard my name nor seen my glory, and they shall declare my glory among the Gentiles, and they shall bring your brethren out of the nations for a gift to Yahuwah with horses and chariots and litters drawn by mules and awnings, to the holy city Jerusalem, saith Yahuwah, as though the children of Israel should bring their sacrifices to me with psalms into the house of Yahuwah. So the children of Israel are the treasure, are the sacrifice that Yah has been deprived of. All right? You have robbed me of my offerings. That's what he's talking about when he says he's robbed of offerings. And I will take of them priests and Levites, saith Yahuwah, for as the new heaven and the new earth which I make remain before me, saith Yahuwah, so shall your seed and your name continue. And it shall. So what do we see here in the kingdom? Matthew 24:13 says, but he that shall endure unto the end, the same shall be saved. He who shall endure to the end, the same shall be saved. Same thing as in, and we who are alive and remain shall be caught up in the clouds forever with Yahushua. Okay? So you have to endure to the end to enter this kingdom, whether through the tribulation or the great tribulation. What does the kingdom look like? All right, so when you have a kingdom, you have a king, which is Yahushua. Right at the center of everything. This is the temple, king and the priest. And you have a government. You have a kingdom of priests who govern with Yahushua. That's how any government is. You have like a president or a king, and then you have nobility, royal subjects, lords and ladies, and so on, or parliament, whatever you want to call it. So they are serving that king and dispatching his word, okay? This is everyone who overcomes and continues in Yah's work is given authority over the nations. So they're ruling nations, and Yahushua will rule them with an iron. So what does a kingdom have? A kingdom has subjects, land, and a law. A kingdom has subjects, land, and a law. And it has government, right? It has a king, and then it has these who rule with him, right? According to this Revelation 2:7 and according to Revelation 20, these who are ruling over it, and these are the gates to the kingdom. And so the kingdom is including the lands of Shem, Ham, and Japheth. Now all of Israel's land has become Yah's land, okay, and it's become holy. And then we have the other nations, which are Japheth and Ham, and they are dwelling outside of the kingdom. They're outside of the temple, but part of the kingdom. Okay, so it's just like it's a wilderness experience now for them. It's a wilderness experience now for them. But the whole wilderness has become the whole earth. Why do I say that? Remember, I told you that people were standing by waiting to enter the kingdom, and eventually they do. And we've discussed the ones who entered the kingdom, but there's now going to be people dwelling outside of the kingdom after this great war. And people are also going to be having children and everything outside of the kingdom who don't know about everything that happened before the kingdom. But when we look at Revelation, or Kai Zion, set apart seed of the leader Yah, sown, Kai Zion, okay, that's the real name of Revelation in Hebrew. When we look at Kai Zion 22 and 1, it says, he showed me a pure river of water of life, clear as crystal, proceeding out of the throne of Yah and of the Lamb. And in the midst of the street of it, and of either side of ye a river, was the tree of life, which bare 12 manner of fruits, and gave fruit every month. And the leaves of the tree served to heal the nations with. So somebody needs healing. They're not completely transformed and renewed. They need healing. They haven't been changed, right? So these are the nations dwelling outside of the kingdom who are being ruled. The nations dwelling outside of the kingdom who are being ruled and who come for healing from the leaves, not the fruit. It says from the leaves of the tree. Now at the end, you get to, as I say here, as you'll read, you get to eat of the tree. When the Satan is sent out and released again, and everything is thrown into the fire. But now you only get to be healed by the leaves, because what happens at the end of everything, and of course when the transformed enter, they get to eat of the tree of life. And there shall be no more curse, but ye, throne of Yah and of the Lamb, shall be in it, and his servants shall serve him, and they shall see his face, and his name shall be in their foreheads. So salvation again, in the name. And there shall be no night there, and they need no candle, neither light of the sun. For Yahuah, the Yahuah, giveth them light, and he shall reign forevermore. And then it says, when we go all the way to verse 14, blessed are they that doeth his commandments, that their right may be in this tree of life, and may enter through the gates of the city. So, the nations are healed with the tree of life, but the people who come in are transformed get access to it. Because it says, for without shall be dogs and enchanters and mongers and murmurers and idolaters and whosoever loveth or maketh lies. So there's a whole bunch of people dwelling outside of the kingdom. And it doesn't say they're burning in hell, okay? There's another set of people, however, who are burning in hell. And it shall come to pass from month to month and from Sabbath to Sabbath that all flesh shall come to worship before me in Jerusalem, saith Yahuwah. And they shall go forth and see the carcasses of the men that have transgressed against me. For their worm shall not die, and their fire shall not be quenched, and they shall be a spectacle to all flesh. So that's going on every Shabbat in the kingdom of heaven. Why would we be gazing down on people who are burning in hell? Because it hasn't been thrown into the lake of fire, and we're in the 1,000-year reign.
Hey, you see how it's lining up, Yasharal? So families, man, we're going to play a couple more music joints. I got some more gems for you, families. And then families, man, you want to jot down, families. 1 Peter chapter 3, 15 through 16 is very powerful. As well, families, the book of Colossians chapter 4, verses 5 through 8. Let's go. Everything gonna line up, families, if you rightly divide, families. But you can't be scared of like other history. You can't be scared of other scriptures, families. You know what I'm saying? You must dive in deep.
I'm so off-balanced, you keep me grounded, often unsure of myself, but you're my validation. And fear and insecurity has to leave. Memories how we used to be. Tragically, it could have been naturally. Time and time again, in pain. Putting my trust in righteousness, but no. Did my troubles go far? No. Something's tearing at my soul. I can hardly find my way back home. So painful and deep down, speechless. Desperately, I'm calling your name, calling for your love. I need the answers in your holy word. I'm calling your love. I found the answer, in your holy word. So true what they say, one mistake could change everything. Warning signs up ahead, but you don't stop to think. Reaching out for a hand in an empty space. So confused, don't know what to do or to say. Oh, no. Did my troubles go far? No. Something's tearing at my soul. I can hardly find my way back home. It's so painful and deep down, speechless. Desperately, I'm calling your name, calling for the answer, I'm calling your love. I found the answer, your holy word. Calling, 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 calling your name. Calling, 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 calling your name. Calling for your love, calling for your word, calling for your word, calling for your word, calling for your love, calling for your word, calling for your love, calling for your love. Calling for your love, calling for your word, calling for your word, calling for your love, calling for your love, calling for your word, calling for your word, calling for your
Hey, let's go, Yashua. Let's go. And we're gonna start at 1 Peter, chapter 3. going to start at verse 14. A dagger is verse 15 through 17. 1 Peter chapter 3, verse 14. But if ye suffer from righteousness' sake, happy are ye, and be not afraid of their terror, neither be troubled. You is not supposed to be worried about these things, families. You might be in this world, but you is not of this world, families. So there are certain disciplinary rules or actions that you apply in your life, families, to let everybody else know, families, that you is not from this world. They're going to be thinking you was an alien, y'all. You come from a different planet, which you do. But it's not a planet. You come from a whole different type of kingdom, from the Shamayims. But these people want to call it a planet. But it's not a planet. You come from the heavenlies, y'all. You come from the stars, man. Verse 15. But sanctify Yahuah Yahudah in your hearts, in your mind, families, and be ready always to give an answer to every man that asks of you a reason. This is how you is able to come to every single person and have a word of reason from them, families. You is not premeditating on them. You is not coming with a different agenda. You is not trying to sit here and make and boast yourself and make it seem like that you better than most folks, flashing your money and stuff like that, or even your knowledge, your understanding on certain areas. You know what I'm saying? You're not boasting and getting in this type of attitude. You know what I'm saying? You keep yourself always at a lower state and very humble, man. But you question everything. That way that one day you will have an answer for every man with a reason of why you believe the way that you believe. But sanctify Yahuah Yahudah in your hearts, and be ready always to give an answer to every man that asks of you a reason of the hope that is in you. This is your full emunah, your obedience in your faith that is in you with meekness and in fear, families, and in fear. You is full humbleness, man. You is in full humbleness. You is in full meekness, because those that is in me shall inherit the earth. In Matthew, chapter 5, chapter 6, verse 16. Having a good conscience, that whereas they speaketh evil of you, as of evildoers, they may be ashamed that falsely accuse you. Good conversation in Hamashiach. You is trying to have a good conversation with a certain individual in Hamashiach. You coming in full love in Hamashiach. But these cats, man, continue to have these type of misconceptions against you. They are falsely accusing you of certain things, y'all. Not knowing that you might have a certain type of understanding that might enlighten their mindset. You might edify them, y'all. That's if you recognize every aspect of life. That's if you know what's real. Real, recognize the real. It's not just you saying that, oh man, that's some real stuff. No, you have an understanding about what is real stuff. Verse 17. For it is better, if the will of Yahuwah be so, that ye suffer for well doing, than for the evil doings. Families, you're going to suffer for the righteousness' sake. You're going to suffer, families, for that crown of salvation, that crown of life, families, that crown of righteousness that sit above your temple, y'all, above your head. You're going to manifest these things, y'all. And families, man, you shall walk in full obedience in Hamashiach. You're going to walk in full obedience. That is full submission, families, because why? You recognize the real. You understand, families, that having these type of standards, these type of values, families, what we call being the MVP, morals, values, and principles, that you apply these things in your life. That way that if nobody else have a clue, you can let them know what's up. It's not just telling somebody that, hey, they real, or you as a most valuable player, but there is a structure to this, families. Families, that means that families, you will by what? Rules. You stick to a code. There's a banner, families, a flag, families, that you hold to, families. And that's real talk. You gotta believe, families, that the prophets that's in this Bible, families, come from you. They come from the same fruit, the seed that you come from, that you bear from, man. You gotta believe that, families. Whatever area that you from, families. When you look at this Bible, families, you gotta believe that these brothers, these sisters, is the exact same people as you. You got to identify and understand the misconception. That's what they call having discernment. You have to have a good conscience in this, y'all. This is a mindset thing. That way, when you go into the New Testament, it talks about renewing of the mind. That is reinventing yourself. You is re-identifying yourself. That way that you can let other people who don't know who you is, they're going to know who you are. That's it. That's all. Colossians chapter 4, verses 5 through 8. The dagger in this family is verse 6. Colossians chapter 4, verse 5. Walk in wisdom towards them. Who is you walking in wisdom towards? You walking in wisdom to them, families that be falsely accusing you. You walking in wisdom towards them, families that don't understand who you truly is. But families, you coming in full humbleness, man. You letting them know that all you got to do, you ain't got to come all aggressively, all stiff-necked. Man, loosen yourself up, man, and talk to me. You ain't got to come all like defensive, man. Loosen yourself up and let's chop it up. Let's talk about it. Walk in wisdom towards them that are without. Redeem in the time. You was going to make up extra time, families, that we all done lost. Let your speech always be with grace. Seasoned with salt. You got a lot of flavor when you speak. That ye may know how to ought to answer every man, going back for what they told Peter. Going back for what Yahushua told Peter. That families, you must study to show yourself approved, man. You must dissect these scriptures, y'all. And understand, families, that these exact same brothers and sisters come from the exact same branch. The exact same cloth that you cut from. That you rooted out of. These exact same brothers and sisters, families, were speaking with flavor. Seasoned with salt. And if you chopped it up with them, they might have an answer and a reason for what you believe. Check this out, y'all. In verse 8. In verse 7, it's talking about this certain individual that the Most High Yah brought to the people. All my state shall Tysius declare unto you, who is a beloved brother, and a faithful minister and fellow servant in Yahuah, whom I have sent unto you for the same purpose. Just like you have a reason, a purpose, and a cause, morals, values, and principles, recognizing every aspect of life. All my state shall Tysius declare unto you, who is a beloved brother, a faithful minister, a fellow servant in Yahuah, whom I have sent unto you for the same purpose, that he might know your estate, which is your mindset, and comfort your heart. He's going to comfort your mind, give you a peace of mind. Check this out. Was Arsenius, a faithful and beloved brother, who is one of you, they shall make known unto you all things which are done here. Where, families? in that dispensation that they was in at that point in time. They came into their own families just so they can receive the knowledge, families, which was taken from them, what he called redeeming the time. So when the Most High have these appointed times, these visitation dates, these judgment sessions or seasons, families, you have to understand to number your days, man. Regardless of if you didn't know it or not, there are going to be those that's going to come up to you one day and going to tell you to wake up and number your days, man. Atarsius, verse 10, Atarsius, my fellow prisoner, saluteth you. And Marcus, sister son of Barnabas, touching whom ye received commandments. This was an order. When somebody command you to do something, they order you to do something, it became a law in your life. If you break it, you shall what? Suffer the consequences. Period. They did it then, we do it now. If he coming unto you, receiveth him. And Yahushua, which is called justice. And look how they spell just us. Just us. For just, man, quit playing with the scriptures, y'all. Quit playing with them. I'm done, man. And Yahushua, which is called justice, who are of the circumcision. These only are my fellow workers unto the kingdom of Yahuwah, which have been a comfort unto me. These are those who's going to know that during that millennial reign, when the kingdom come, families, and they will reign for that 1,000 years with Yahushua HaMashiach. They're going to be fellow servants. There's work that needs to be done in the kingdom. They understand that, families, they just knowing, families, that when they wake up in that first resurrection, it's just going to be just what? Kumbaya? Nah, man. It's going to be work to be done, families. It's an order that needs to be established, families. And it shall be established with you or without you. He's going to salute those that has the understanding. He's going to salute his soldiers, man.
All right, y'all, this new wine network, we back. Back with that history before the vote, huh? We're going to do it the same way this time as we do it every time. We're going to show y'all new history through old historical books. And we're going to correlate those old historical books with old historical maps. All right? Now, if you watch the gold closing holes that Jacob supposed, you learn the importance of these books and maps. You saw how these books was written for the kings and for the leaders of this world. You saw how the maps was written for the kings and for the leaders of this world. You saw why the map says, as the act declares. You learned how King Charles III ordered this map to be made. Why? Because according to the Encyclopedia Britannica, a dictionary of arts compiled upon a new plan from 1771,
African Company, a society of merchants established by King Charles II for trading to Africa, which trade is now laid open to all His Majesty's subjects, paying 10% for maintaining the forts.
So now you see, King Charles III ordered the map to be made. His daddy, King Charles II, he's the one who set up those African companies, those charter companies that we talked about in Gold Closing Holes. All right? He the one set those companies up. Remember those African charter companies and those East Dutch India companies and all of
Man,
those
let's get a music joint in, families, before we finish this out. Let's get a music joint in.
Remember, all of this go together now. All of these videos are gonna flow together, all right? So you got to watch them all.
in those moments. Started change for me to focus. We about to climb on, rolling, rocking through the night long. Would you believe that I've been lost? Had a couple of demons try to talk to me, gotta be cautious. Bitch, they can't play with nobody. Trying to knock out the evil like Tyson. Doubles around me like Python. You want more than my body. They staring at me like a dog. Got a plan on my feet for the cross. I done been out to sea way too long. I can't play with a folly. I get down on my knees, no more bottles. Used to take Hennessy for the problem. Had a guy like I need you, I follow. Torment, pain, went through the longest. Trials, tribulations in those moments. Started change for me to focus. Back in them days, I was all on my own and ain't know where to go, but I stayed in my zone. I had to focus on me for once. I was depressed and ain't nobody know. What do you do when you feel so alone? Called on my dad and he answered the phone. My heart was frozen, it felt like stone. Don't leave a message right after the tone. Yeah, I do not brag and don't boast, but I'm hopping straight in the boat. When God coming back, I'ma go. Work hard and I stay on my toes. Yeah, I had to focus on every moment. God gave me the chance and now I gotta show it. Torment, pain, went through the longest. Trials, tribulations in those moments. Started change for me to focus.
Hey families, man, the Elder Brand TV is live, families. He probably been live for some time, y'all. I didn't even know. I've been going to my classes and stuff, so I wasn't even aware that he was even live today. So, man, we finna go over there and check him out right quick, y'all. Let's go. Go over there to Brand TV, check out our brother.
Hey, Grace and Peace, you hear me? Yes, we can hear you, sir. All right, cool.
Man, the Elder been live for 6 hours.
All right, so you're asking me a question?
Man, he be going in, man. He be going in.
You heard the video? You missed the video. You've been heading your head in the sand. Did you hear what's going on here? No, I did. Yeah, I've been listening. I had to step away for like 2 minutes, but I'm back now. But yeah, I heard the video. Yeah, it's what he said was deplorable. You know what I'm saying? That was something that was. I mean, I ain't gonna lie. By him saying that, I know he wasn't directly saying that to me, but I was offended by what he said, because it's almost like when he said your people, it was almost like he broad brushed. It wasn't like he said something that was just synonymous to Hebrew Israelites. It was just like he's talking about spreading AIDS and doing crack and all of this type of stuff. And we know that people have referenced those things to black people in the past. So I was highly offended by what he said. And I mean, if this guy calls himself a Christian, he really has he really has no place to do that. I mean, not using that type of language. You know what I'm saying? I mean, now I don't know if he just calls himself a Christian or if he's just an atheist or agnostic or what. But from listening to the conversation, it sounds like that this is a guy who claims to be a Christian or who professes Christ, and that's not the way that a believer should conduct themselves. You know what I'm saying? And Sister Cherry, no, I love her. You know what I'm saying? I mean, that's my girl right there. You know what I'm saying? But however, I do think that when it comes to the company that we keep.
All right, families, I can see that it probably been a little bit real up in here. So we gonna keep it on regular scheduled programming, because it gets very real over there. But we're gonna keep it on regular scheduled programming, y'all.
kingdom never ends.
So the Most High been wanting us to unlock these certain doors, y'all. Unlock these certain keys, these powers, y'all, spiritual powers, y'all. That way that you can understand the mysteries of Hamashiach. He wants you to understand these things. That way that it will no longer be a mystery, fellas. And you can reveal these things to those that was lost. Let's go back to 1 Peter chapter 3. Go back to 1 Peter chapter 3. And the reason why Paul said what he said in the book of Colossians, what he told the church of Colossians at that point in time. There you go, families. Verse 4. And then we're going to go back to the book of Colossians to show you the mystery, man. We're going to read verse 4. But let it be the hidden man of the heart, and that which is not corruptible, even the ornament of a meek and quiet spirit, which is in the sight of Yahuah, of great price, of great value, of great structure, of great standards, of great principle, morals, y'all. And you quiet in the spirit, man. You is observing these things. You is recognizing these things, families. You was very slow to speak and quick to listen. Colossians chapter 4. Let me find it, y'all. There you go. Verse 3. Withal, praying also for us, that Yahuwah will open unto us a door of utterance. This is his word. This is his quickening spirit that set apart Ruach families. For whether you supposed to shema, you supposed to hear, you supposed to listen, families, of this utterance, his word, families. To speak the mystery of Hamashiach, for which I am also in bounds. You is bounding yourself to the commandments, laws, statutes, and judgments of Yahuwah and our Messiah, our Hamashiach, our King, our King. So when they say who they say the Son of Man is, long live the King. Who they say the Son of Man is, you will understand the mysteries, y'all, of Hamashiach. That way that you can have an answer for every man with reason of why you believe the way you believe. Because families, you've been listening to that utterance that set apart Ruach, that HaKadosh. Hallelujah. Man, I love you, Zion. Stay in full obedience in these times, man. In this dispensation. Stay in full obedience, y'all. Because obedience is most definitely better than sacrifice. Without a shadow of a doubt.
watch them all and pay attention. Really pay attention. Alright? Okay, so now when he started that stock market, all these other nations want to come up over there. Alright? So they can come over there and they can do their little hustle on a 10% fee. That was the deal. Pay attention to what's going on. See, the world know who you are and they know what you have. You just don't understand your history. So now all the nations come, they get the gold we talked about, and then they get the people. What people? The same people we showed y'all on being the builders that went into that area. Abraham's descendants. Because remember, we showed y'all on being the builders how Abraham came south out of Egypt and he established himself in Africa. We showed y'all that. Alright, now Abraham had many kids, alright? He was like a rolling stone, alright? But we just gonna talk about his oldest son, Ishmael, and then he had Isaac, alright? Now, Ishmael felt like he should get the blessing, he should get the promise, alright? Because he's the oldest son. But Ishmael is by Abraham. And Isaac is by Abraham's wife, Sarah. Alright? Now Isaac gets the blessing from the Most High. Isaac is the father of Jacob and Esau. Alright? Out of those two are twins, Jacob and Esau. Esau, he's the oldest. But Jacob gets the blessing. Alright? Now Esau, he feels he should get the blessing just like Ishmael. Alright, so when Abraham got the promise to the promised land, it was going to be passed on from generation to generation, but only through one child. Alright? So, it just meant Abraham's descendants should be the rulers or the leaders over this area of the land. It doesn't mean that they'll be the only ones in the land. Alright? They're just going to be the heads. And this is why the other kids, Ishmael and Esau, this is why they feel like they deserve the promise, the inheritance. Alright? Because they're the oldest. And naturally, the oldest child gets the inheritance of being the ruler or the overseer. Alright? So, the whole little dispute between Ishmael, Jacob, Esau, Isaac is who gets to be overseers in the promised land. Alright?
Abraham left all that was with him to Isaac, but to the sons of the secondary wives that Abram had, Abraham gave fortunes and sent them from his son Isaac during his own life to the east of the eastern country. Arabia is the ancient as well as the modern name, though the people have been long called Saracens, or the inhabitants of the desert. Sara in their language signifying a desert. Some derive the name Arabia from Arabi, a thief or robber, as they have been generally esteemed by their neighbors ever since they were a nation to the present time. Others observe that the word Arab in Hebrew signifies black, as the inhabitants of this country, it is said, anciently were, in this country called Ethiopia, as well as Abyssinia, or the Upper Ethiopia, which is divided from it only by the Red Sea and the narrow strait of Bab el Mandeb.
Alright, and that book was from The Universal Traveler, or a Complete Description of Several Foreign Nations of the World, Volume 1, by Thomas Salmon, 1759, alright? And they showed us that in the ancient, Arab, or Arabia, meant black, alright? That's why Queen Sheba was there. She ruled Ethiopia, Abyssinia, that whole area, he was saying, just divides each other by the Red Sea, alright? They all was black, alright? That's the area Abraham sent Ishmael to, sent his kids eastward. That's the area Lot went to, alright? They all were black. Now, just for a side note, Arab means mixed multitude. To Arab meant black, all right? And that's very important with finding Esau, all right? And that's also why this book, Dictionary Britannica, or more complete universal etymological English dictionary from 1742 by Nathan Bailey, says Arabian, from the Hebrew black, Arabian, Hebrew, the thief or robber, one on account of the swarthy complexion, the latter on account of their even disposition. In other words, the first Hebrew word is on account of their black or dark, the swarthy mean dark or black complexion, all right? The second word, what they call them, is on account of their thieving disposition, all right? The Arabs having in all ages been so addicted to this vice that the Martin Del Rio observed it was as usual for the Jews to call the thief an Arab as it was to call the merchant a Canaanite and the mathematician a Chaldean, all right? All right, now to start out with finding Esau, we're going to go into the Bible in Modern English by Benton Farrer from 1832 to 1920. All right, and the publication date says 1901. And on the side of it, to correlate that book, we're going to go with the King James Version of today's Bible. All right, so they're going to show side by side. All right, so there we go.
And these are the children of Isaac, son of Abraham. Abraham begat Isaac, and Isaac, son of Abraham, was 40 years old when he took for his wife Rebekah, the daughter of Bethuel the Aramite of Paddan Aram, and sister of Laban the Aramite. And Isaac prayed to the ever-living about his wife, for she was childless, and the Lord answered him. For Rebekah his wife conceived, and the children struggled together in her breast, and she consequently said, Why does this happen to me? So she went to inquire of the ever-living. And the Lord said to her, 2 nations are in your breast, and 2 people shall proceed from your womb. And 1 people shall be stronger than the other people, and the elder shall serve the younger. When her days were full for her delivery, there were twins. And the firstborn boy came out covered with hair, and she called his name Esau. Then after him came his brother, with his hand holding the heel of Esau, so they called his name Jacob.
All right, y'all, to start off, we're going to look at a couple of words that was mentioned, all right? So we're going to look at, first word we're going to look at is nation, all right? And it's from the Hebrew 523, all right? And nation just means a collection, all right? A collection, example, community of persons, people. So it's 2 different collections in your stomach, 2 different persons, 2 different people, all right? So a nation also means folk, men, all right? Troops, attendants, tribe. So it's 2 different tribes in your stomach, 2 different kinfolk, 2 different men, 2 different people, all right? So a nation don't just mean the nation, how they have us thinking of it in the sense of United States, Canada. No, it could just mean 2 different people. You and your sibling start doing 2 different things, going 2 different ways, having 2 different cultures of life. That'll be 2 different nations. And the word manner means a custom. All right? So they should have 2 different customs. All right? It means ordinance. So they should have 2 different ordinances. It means decree, law, commission, commandment. They should have 2 different commandments. They should have 2 different decrees, 2 different laws. All right? So these two different tribes